Purchasing air filters directly from the manufacturer definitely has its perks. Factory direct air filters doesn't just sell filters, but they manufacture the Aerostar air filter brand. So basically, you're cutting out the middleman. If you manage multiple properties or commercial service contracts, they do have bulk discounts, but they also offer wholesale pricing as well. They've got consistent inventory and standard sizes ship within 2 days. They also do unique sizes to spec, and that's within about 5 days. They have free shipping across the US. So if you guys want to get your filters faster and cheaper and built to spec, factorydirectfilters.com is the place to go. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I am remote again doing this introduction. It's been crazy out in the field the last 2, 3 weeks, and it's just call after call. So I'm recording this from my phone in my van, the intro. So listen, AI, it's kind of a big topic right now. So we have a guest on to talk about AI and how it's with the technician, the business owner, all of that kind of stuff kind of wrapped into one. His name is Jim Christian, and he is from a company called Podium, and we'll talk about what Podium does later on in the podcast. It's another two-parter, guys. So if you're interested in what AI can do and help you with in your day-to-day, whether you run a business or you're tech in the field, there are things out there that can enhance you to make you more efficient at your job. So let's get into this, guys. This is the HVAC Know-It-All podcast. I'm your host, Gary McCreadie. This podcast is sponsored by Cool Air Products, Cintas, and SupplyHouse.com. Go to the show notes and click on the links to check these guys out. Jim, so here's the thing. AI has come a long way, and every single day it seems like there's a new advancement or something that was yesterday has improved today, and it seems like really, really quick and rapid. And I want to have this conversation with you surrounding how an HVAC technician, HVAC business owner, anybody that's a professional in the HVAC, refrigeration, skilled trades industry can utilize AI to their benefit to be better at what they do. Now, there's all kinds of tools out. If I go and speak on the technician side, like Copeland Mobile's got an app that uses AI that sifts through like years and years and years of compressor data so they can put in a model number and pull up all the specs on a compressor that's 20 years old type thing. And these types of things are really, really helping technicians in the field. And they can help business owners too. But from a business owner standpoint, I think that's maybe more along the lines of what we're here to talk about with yourself today. Let's talk about in general. I just want to get your opinion on AI as it's sort of evolved over the last couple of years. Just give me your general opinion on it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Gary, first of all, thanks so much for having me here today. Really appreciate the opportunity. Nice to meet you. My general opinion on AI, I think you're totally right that AI is advancing wildly fast, right? Probably the fastest of any software technology in the past few decades. What I can say about it is I think the arc that I've observed with AI is, we started with these traditional LLMs, right? These frontier models that can communicate via text.
You might want to define LOM because there's a lot of people listening that might not know what that is.
LLM is a large language model. It's basically you hear about like ChatGPT, their models, or Claude, their models. Those are all LLMs. They're these large language models that basically have taken in a bunch of information from the internet and other sources and put together the actual like core LLM is actually pretty simple. What it does, it predicts, right? It predicts for every word what's the next word. And that's like a relatively simple view of what's going on. But what ends up happening is the first LLMs were able to piece together and make responses based on questions. You could, like you still kind of do in ChatGPT, right? You can say something to it and it'll respond back with a reasonable explanation. Start adding in the ability for these LLMs to reason and make sense of what's going on and go search the right thing, understand the intent of the question, right? Parse out what's going on there and reason and take that somewhere. So in the initial days of AI, like the very first applications were things like you talk about an AI CSR, right? Being able to receive a message from an inbound lead and respond back with something reasonable and kind of generate like natural human language. The bigger advancements lately have been in AI models that can actually do real work for you, right? Not just this LLM layer that is the communication interface, but these models that can actually reason and understand what to do and then go do real work. And we call those tools. What we really mean there, like a concrete example of that is like, the very first AI that was kind of introduced to the HVAC and home services industry was AI that could like text respond to a lead, right? That's kind of where we started. Over time, that's evolved into these AI CSRs that can actually do more than just text and respond to a lead. They can actually go into the software and do an action like after negotiating a time with a lead that makes sense to book them for a job. They can actually go into the software and book that job for a customer. Does that kind of make sense?
Can we define that as a virtual employee almost?
100%. Yeah. That's exactly how we think about it. It's, I mean, and if you think about like tracking to where the value is, oftentimes these AI employees, these virtual employees that contractors are buying up are oftentimes a replacement or an addition on top of the employees they would have paid for. Right. So like your plastic.
I see what you're saying there because I've been in the industry for a very long time, mainly worked for the same company during this time. Like the majority of my career, it was with the same company. I saw different dispatchers go through that company. When you say that the AI virtual employee is there to assist the actual person, I can see that being so beneficial because I've seen dispatchers, just literally seen dispatchers answer a landline, answer a cell phone at the same time, say, hold on, put one down. And then they're talking to this person and then they're on the computer and they're trying to multitask and doing three, four things at once. And that leads to mistakes. That leads to sending somebody to the wrong place because they weren't looking at the GPS map properly. And that technician's getting kind of pissed off because he had to drive 2 hours across the city when it could have been someone that was closer. It leads to kind of mistakes and burnout. So I can see how a virtual employee could really, really help assist an actual physical person in real life. So let's maybe speak more about that if you don't mind.
So many thoughts I want to talk about there. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, when I started looking into AI employees and building some of these tools with the team, the original angling was a lot around like replacement of people. What I've learned in diving in really far with home services businesses and understand what's going on, it's not about replacement so much as it is about augmentation and helping businesses do more. We've got kind of think about this like as a longer arc in software, right? From back before businesses were using any kind of software, just running pen and paper or whiteboards in the office to manage their technician schedules, everyone getting together at the beginning of the day, figuring out where they're going to go, writing down notes and then going. There's a whole era of software where we helped and started bringing things into software and then like technicians could have the information on their phone, live updates, automations to take care of simple things like send that review invite after the job gets complete or follow up on an invoice that needs to get paid. Those automations were there. And these AI employees are kind of the next level of that, right? We see, I work with tons of customers who have like one office manager or dispatcher. They're totally overwhelmed, too much going on. And they spend all day long just keeping the technicians enabled and going throughout their day and no time doing the other revenue generating things that you want to do for business, like following up on unsold estimates or building your membership program or, doing marketing to help drive leads, looking ahead on the schedule, seeing where things are going to slow down and making a business plan to keep those technicians busy and keep the revenue coming. And employees really, really help with that.
So you are with a company called Podium. Let's just talk about what does Podium, we're not going to go creating a commercial out of Podium because that's not what the purpose of this is, but you do offer services that can help. So I just want to give you a couple of minutes to describe what Podium does, and we'll get into some other topics of conversation when it comes to AI.
Let me tell kind of the quick story about Podium, kind of how we've evolved. Originally, roughly 14 years ago, our founders got started with this idea that locally run businesses mostly get found on Google Maps. When we all need support from an HVAC business, we go to Google Maps, we search, and then we start calling. And the only way that businesses get found on Google is by having reviews. So that's where Podium started, right? We're a review solicitation company helping local businesses just quickly get a review, send out that review invite, and get something from the customer to help build that online reputation. Over time, we expanded into being a full communication software, right? We did review solicitation over text initially. We expanded into email. Phone's definitely the most important channel for communication for an HVAC business. What became really evident as this communication and lead management software was that the most important thing for a business and lead management is their speed to lead. In the home services world, I think the stats say like if you don't respond to a lead within 5 minutes of them reaching out to you, your chance of winning that lead drops by like 80 to 90%. So that's where we started building. That's where the idea for us of AI employees was born. The great thing about an AI CSR is it's 24/7, always on, right? Always working, whether that means handling those overflows, like you mentioned, the dispatcher trying to pick up two phones at once or working after hours. So 24/7, always on. AI employees never have a bad day. They're always positive. They always run the best playbook. They always talk about things the right way. There's never, other things distracting them from what they're doing. That's how we kind of got into AI employees. Where Podium's really evolved in the last 12 months is the realization that like an AI employee that can simply pick up the phone call and talk to that lead is more or less, in a way, you could argue it's a little bit of a glorified voicemail. If the end of that conversation is, "Hey, Gary, thanks for reaching out. I'll take notes on your problem and I'll have someone call you back." That's something, right? That's
Hmm.
better than nothing.
Yeah.
But the best AI employee is the one who can actually say, "Hey, Gary, I'm so sorry to hear your furnace won't turn on. Jim is actually on call tonight. He could be out to your place in 30 minutes. Do you want me to send him your way?" And so that's really where Podium has taken this. So in achieving that, that means, we have to be tied into the entire operating system, right? We have to know the technicians, what their skills are, what types of work we do. We have to know what our price book is. We have to know what estimates and invoices look like. We have to know context on that customer. Have we worked with Gary in the past? Do we know him first name? Do we know if he's the homeowner? And so that's kind of the journey that we've been on.
You said something interesting to me that I'd like to visit. You said we need to know who the technicians are and their skill level. In a company, you could have a technician that's been there for 30 years and can fix anything under the sun, and you could have Jimmy that started 2 weeks ago and they just threw him on the on-call rotation just because they needed to. They had no other choice because no one else wanted to fill that gap. Ins and outs of running a business. How would you tell AI that your 30-year tech can work on anything under the sun that comes in on a call, but the new guy, we can only send him on maybe like simple residential type calls. We can't send him to like big chillers or you know what I mean? It's something along those lines. How do we implement that information? How do we make the AI know that this is who we send and why?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's two parts to the answer. The first part is a really simple, boring one, which is, in your system of record, in your field service management software, you define who the technicians are, what skills they have, what jobs they can do, right? That's just your standard database kind of interface. Like go ahead, set up and configure. Gary's, 30 years, Jim is 2 years. Here's the types of jobs we'll give Gary. And that's all pretty straightforward. And then what the AI employees can do is start understanding things while on that conversation, start classifying like what type of work is this that needs to be done? How much uncertainty do we have? It's even better when you start having information like, in your system of record, how old is this system in this house, right? Do we have that information from past work we've done for them? Who did the original job? Has the customer ever expressed interest in having a certain technician? Is there a normal guy who goes out there and actually knows the system? And then from there, that becomes like decision making that you can actually train your AI employee to do. The last part, and happy to go more into this, but the quick high level version is the way we look at building AI employees is we look at them as trainable employees, right? And like we always think about this is like, how would a business owner interact with a human who is doing this job? And there's key components of that. There's like initial onboarding out of the box. Does he have the kind of handbook of how he's supposed to work? And then there's feedback and testing and performance cycles. Can I give just like natural language feedback to this AI employee? Say, hey, I didn't like how you said that, or you booked Jim on a job he shouldn't be doing. And the AI employee can take that information, you can actually give feedback, and it can go update its own rules and understanding of how things work, and then play back and say, hey, I made updates. Do you want to test me out to make sure I'll handle this scenario right the next time?
You said something else interesting when you were defining which technician would go to the call and you threw out a time there. Such and such tech will be there in 30 minutes. Now, do we connect the AI to like a GPS of where that truck is at? That's how it knows how long it's going to take that technician to possibly get to site.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly how you do it. And I think this one, Gary, is actually pretty interesting because you think about like in the traditional fully human powered office model for an HVAC business, they've got CSRs who are picking up the phones, getting people booked. They've got dispatchers who are managing and optimizing the route. It's kind of this like intake process and then an optimization and sending out and dispatching. What's great about AI employees is they can handle all of that on the fly. It's a computer doing work. So it can handle and take those things in. So you can actually start optimizing as it goes. So for example, you can set simple rules. You can train the AI employee with simple things like, hey, when picking a tech, if there's multiple technicians, pick one who has the shortest drive time, or never book out more than 30 minutes without escalating to a human for approval before doing that. There's one last one that is really interesting is we've started building more of an internal agent that can help. You kind of think of it as like, dare I say, like Claude code. The way we talk about it in the tech world is like, think about it as Claude code specifically for an HVAC business. The other way to think about it is like an internal office assistant who isn't interacting directly with customers, but is doing behind the scenes work. And you can prompt it and say things like, hey, look at my schedule next week and find any inefficiencies and propose changes to optimize our routes to minimize for drive time. Make sure you don't assign techs to jobs they can't do, and it'll go off and do all that analysis. And that's oftentimes a pretty complicated set of things to do, right? In the traditional model, you have to run different scenarios and permutations and kind of figure out what the best options are. The power of these AI employees is they can do all that behind the scenes basically for free. And then they spit out options for review and approval. And then they can actually go kind of back to that original point. They can actually go back and do the work, actually shift around the schedule, communicate with the technicians, communicate with the customers about the changes, and then even set it up to do on repeat.
This kind of stuff, it blows my mind. It really does. It really blows my mind how quick and advanced the stuff is getting. It makes me wonder if the Terminator movies were onto something with the Skynet thing and how we're all gonna get attacked by robots, but I'm just kidding.
We were a little ways away from robots.
No, for sure. I do appreciate the technology, and I appreciate how it saves, like, people with busy lives real time, and I don't know what it is, man, but I seem to be getting busier and busier and busier daily as I get older, and it seems like I have free time at maybe 9 o'clock, and I sit down and I'm awake for about 20 minutes and I'm fast asleep. So anything that can make someone's life a little bit easier, more efficient, and take some stress off, I think is a really good thing. Now, I don't want to beat this phrase to death because a lot of people use it is like working on the business instead of in the business. And I think that comes from the book that Michael E. Gerber wrote. The name of the book is Defeating Me at the Moment, the E Myth, I believe it's called.